Yeah, I guess we can go ahead and just get things started here.
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Our largest single-theme land expansion ever.
Now we want you to share with us our latest and greatest dream.
Matterhorn Matt presents Matterhorn Mondays.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 163 of Matterhorn Mondays, coming to you all live from my office, from the outpost, whatever you guys want to call it. Come up with a name. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, guys, we're back. We have
It's always been the outpost.
It's always been the outpost.
You don't like it anymore.
Well, I like it.
You
It's
don't like
just
it
this
anymore.
doesn't look like an outpost. I gotta decorate it or something. I don't know.
All right.
That's a talk for
that's
another
okay.
time. Yeah. Well, I'm of course your host, Matterhorn Matt, and I'm joined once again by my co-host, Jeremy. Hello, Jeremy.
Hello.
How are you today on this International Women's Day? Happy International Women's Day to everybody.
Yes, absolutely. I'm okay.
That's good. I'm also okay. I'm going to be probably not doing okay later on because I just ate McDonald's. So we'll see how that affects me throughout the day because you guys know how McDonald's is. Their
At least you
ketchup.
didn't eat Burger King. So.
Oh, that's true. Topical joke. Yeah, we have a great episode planned for you all today. Kind of a short episode. This was originally supposed to be centered on our later topic, which later in the show we will be having a very special guest that's going to be joining us here on the show today, Steve Wilcox from the Cast Member Pantry. We're going to be asking him a few questions and, just seeing how us, the listeners, the viewers, everybody there can help donate to help all these cast members who are in desperate need. And yeah, we're very excited to get into that. That's originally what the show is supposed to be. Or I guess this episode was supposed to be about, but we did have some pretty important pieces of news that popped up within the past few weeks. We might as well cover them here, news from the peak, but we're going to be, of course, diving deeper into them, next episode. But yeah, of course, voicemail, you guys, 575-386-5814. If you'd like to call in, leave a voicemail, maybe leave some questions to ask for Steve, that'd be great. We can listen to those from everybody.
Yes. Yeah. Any questions you have about the Cast Member Pantry and what they do, we'll be asking probably a lot of those questions ourselves. But yeah. And so, yeah. And hopefully donate.
Yes.
Which we'll have all that information for. So, yeah.
Very excited. That will be later on in the show. But before we get into any of that, birthday time, everybody. If you'd like to be wished a happy birthday live on the show, you can do so by clicking the link down below. And we'll, submit your name, submit your birthday. We'll add it to our birthday calendar here. And we did have a very important birthday yesterday, actually. Sunday the 7th of March. Michael Eisner's birthday. So if you're watching, Mr. Eisner, happy birthday. I know
like the actual Michael Eisner? Or
I'm pretty
the
sure.
Michael Eisner that pops up in this chat? Okay.
You know what? I'm not sure, actually. I assumed it was the... Okay, Jeremy, I'll look it up. I'm assuming it's the... Wait, you're saying that the Michael Eisner who comes to the channel?
Yeah, March 7th.
You were implying that that's not the real Michael Eisner that
No, you're right.
comments on our
It
show.
is the real. The one that is absolutely the real Michael Eisner because March 7th is the real Michael Eisner's birthday.
Happy birthday, Michael. If you're watching, comment down below in the chat. Either way. And then tomorrow, let's see, that is the 9th of March. Jared. Happy birthday to Jared. And
hey.
Yeah, we have Jared here in the chat. It's been a while, I think, but he's normally here. We have 3 more birthdays later this week. Thursday the 11th. Let's see, actually Friday the 12th, Evan's birthday. Saturday the 13th, Alex Rivera's birthday. And then Thursday the 11th, I'm going to butcher this name, I apologize, Teresita. Happy birthday. And, excuse me, yeah, so... That's the birthdays for this week. Like I said, if you'd like to be wished a happy birthday, click down below. The link will be, you guys know the drill. The link will be there.
Oh, I guess it really is choppy, yeah.
Again, yeah. Apologize.
You're
for the
fine. You're coming in
internet.
fine for me, but
Yeah,
yes,
it's
it
weird.
is on
Jeremy is like
on the
fine
stream.
for me too, but the stream
Yeah,
apparently
yeah,
is
you're
just having
crystal clear.
problems.
Yeah.
Anyways, apologies for that, everybody. Yeah. If it's too bad, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we'll re-upload it like we normally do. But yeah, links to all of our Discords, Twitters. Excuse me, I guess the Discord server for the channel, Twitter's, Patreon, all that stuff will be also linked down in the description. And yeah, I guess we can sort of get right into it. I don't have any Snapple for this week. I drank it last Monday because we were supposed to have the show last Monday, and I ended up drinking it later in the day because I was thirsty for some Snapple. It was that time of the week. I was craving it, but anyway.
But you still didn't get one.
I still didn't get one. Yeah, I had a whole week.
That doesn't explain why you don't have one this time.
I had a whole
Yeah.
week, but I do have. What is this? Window cleaning stuff. No, it's Powerade from McDonald's.
Windex.
Oh. Thank you. But it tastes like Windex.
From McDonald's.
Psst, there it is. I wish we were funnier. we would. I wish I was funnier, I guess.
Yeah. I wish you were. Yes. Yeah.
That's true. Well, anyways, let's go ahead and get into this week's news from the peak.
We now present to you news from the peak.
And we only have 2 bits of news for this week, but they're very important pieces of news. Our first bit of news, Disneyland resorts, not just Disneyland, I guess, California theme parks in general, can reopen at reduced capacity on April 1st, or I guess starting April 1st. And of course, links to all of these articles will be down in the description below as part of a quote-unquote refresh of the 4-tier blueprint that California put out. California theme parks will be allowed to open April 1st at reduced capacity as long as they are in the red, that's the tier 2 status. Starting April 1st, theme parks can open at 15% capacity in the red tier, 25% in the orange tier, and 35% in the yellow tier. As you all know, Disneyland and DCA have been closed since March of I guess not just Disneyland. All theme parks in California have been closed since March of last year. And we did get a statement from Disneyland Resort President Ken Potrock, and he said, and I quote, "We are encouraged that theme parks now have a path towards reopening this spring, getting thousands of people back to work, and greatly helping neighboring businesses and our entire community." So yeah, very, great news for all those employees who will be able to get back to work at the theme parks, Disney parks, Universal parks as well. And I guess another sort of interesting tidbit, and I believe it's only for the red tier. I think only California residents will be allowed, or in-state residents will be allowed to visit these theme parks. So that's sort of an interesting tidbit to throw there. But Jeremy, what are your thoughts here?
Mm-hmm.
The changed tier system, Disneyland being allowed to reopen.
Right. Well, as we covered here the past couple weeks, there was a legislation that was passed in California that allowed for that tier change for California theme parks. So it can open as well as all California theme parks as early as April 1st. Of course, only 15% capacity. And I think no indoor rides. So it's it'll be. I think they'll weigh, like, do we just continue with these kind of paid festivals before doing like an opening, or because vaccination rollout's going really well in California actually.
Mm-hmm.
So they might decide, hey, it might be better to wait till summer where the capacity can be increased, more people are vaccinated, and the spread is really, really slowing. Because I think in especially states like California where the rollout's going really well, that I think we'll start to see cases decrease in the next few months. And can you believe it's only a few months till summer? Wow.
That's crazy.
Anyway. So I think of course that's exciting. It's a milestone. It really makes you kind of zoom out and go, hey, we did it. We made it through this. We made it through a year. There's still going to be, another year to go in terms of getting back more and more. You know, it's not, you know, it's not, you know, a snap of the finger. But no, this is definitely, you know, a really good sign that, yes.
I said that, but I was
Well, it's a
muted,
good
so I
snap.
had to say it again.
Oh, okay. And you're still here, so that didn't take you away. So it's just, I think it's a nice sign to really kind of, well, it's twofold, right? You kind of step back and go, oh my God, it's been a year, but also, hey, you know, we did it. We made it through this year, and you know, things are, I mean, they're not fully on the up and up, but there's positive things to be focusing on. And if this news was coming out and like vaccine rollout was going terribly and you know, there was no sign of any hope, then I'd be a little more skeptical of this. But I think this is all in all very good.
Yeah, and I guess sort of the wording that we use to, I guess I don't want to be misleading. Disneyland's not reopening on April 1st. That's just when the theme parks are allowed to accept guests. Yeah, if they choose to. And that's sort of something that we're going to be getting into probably next episode when we dive deeper into this, which also sort of relates to our second bit of news from the peak. Jeremy, what would that be?
Right, so this is kind of related. We kind of did this kind of out of order, but Disney announces the A Touch of Disney limited experience. This past week, Disney unveiled their brand new food festival, A Touch of Disney, a ticketed event within Disney California Adventure. Begins March 18th, Thursday through Mondays from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. Tickets cost $75 each for guests over 3 and includes parking, a $25 A Touch of Disney dining card redeemable for food and non-alcoholic beverages, and unlimited PhotoPass downloads. So the funny thing is that's been going around is that they announced that, and then it was like a few days later, you know, the state of California said, hey, you know, just so you know, by April 1st. I kind of think that Disney knew that was coming. I don't think they would have been kept in the dark. And so I actually think the timing of this announcement versus the state of California's announcement is somewhat kind of tied together. And I think that Disney is definitely planning a strategy on how to best reopen the whole resort entirely. And I think this is actually a part of that strategy.
Yeah.
So, but hey, that's nice. If you want to spend $75 to do that, go right ahead. But as long as you're safe. The funny thing is that it's like Disneyland for most of its history, right, was not open every day of the week. You know, it's interesting to kind of how that actually we might return to that. This festival kind of, I think, gives a glimpse into how that might be.
Yeah, this is also something that a lot of fans have been asking Disney to do. Of course, we've seen Knott's, and I believe recently Universal went through with the same thing. Sort of these paid events, food related. I'm not sure if Universal's was food related. I know Knott's was. But yeah, it's going to be nice for all you locals to walk around. And I believe more of DCA is going to be open, accessible to, besides just Buena Vista Street, Grizzly Peak area, and the Hollywoodland. I could be wrong, but I believe that's what I read. I can't remember exactly to where it's going to be extending, where it's going to stop extending, but yeah, shout out to all of you SoCal people who, you know, have been missing. Well, I guess you could have still visited Buena Vista Street.
SoCal at heart.
SoCal at heart.
But I'm here in New York.
Me too, except was not born there. Yeah. But, yeah, great news that Disney is finally, I mean, it's sort of interesting wondering what took them so long to get this put together and to get this out there, because Knott's has been doing this for, you know, even until last year they started doing this. So, but we'll touch more into all this next episode once we get a deeper dive into, you know, when Disney can reopen, you know, if they should reopen on April 1st. Next episode, very excited. And, Jeremy, any final thoughts on our news from the peak today?
No. It's you know, right. Very positive, kind of like positive news for the peak today, and I'm sure we'll get more into it next week in detail, what reopening means, what a timeline could look like, and the process of reopening and capacity and we'll probably talk about that next week, unless Kim Irvine retires or something.
Oh no!
Um,
Jeremy jinxed it. Mark it on your calendars, everybody. It's happening. Oh my gosh! Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. I have wood right here, so that's good.
Well, I believe that's going to wrap up this week's segment of News from the Peak, and we will be back briefly after we hear a word from our sponsor, commercial break, and then we will be joined by Steve from Cast Member Pantry, so have your questions ready. I know we do. We have our questions ready, but
We have our questions.
yeah, stick around.
They might be your questions.
They might be mine. They might be Jeremy's. They could be the chat's questions. So we'll see. Steve could ask a question himself, and it could be his question.
Exactly.
Yeah, so bear with us here. We're going to go to a quick sponsor break, and then if for some reason it ends up taking a little longer, we'll switch back to the very pretty slideshow that I have of the, what is it, the Resort TV. And yeah. So
Did you
we
guys
will
know that Maddie recreated that?
I did that whole
that's
thing.
not just like the Resort TV. That's literally a recreation that's broadcast to you live.
Yeah,
Just
it's
saying.
pretty crazy. And
Anyway.
I still, I guess just since you brought it up, I'm still trying to figure out ways to get that streaming like 24/7 on the YouTube channel. So if you guys know of like a hosting provider that can support like not necessarily big movie files or like average size movie files, graphics, OBS, streaming, all that kind of stuff, hit me up. If you have a computer that can run it, I'll use your computer wherever it is. Just kidding. But anyways, yeah, if you guys off topic. But we will be right back, and we will be joined by Steve from Cast Member Pantry. So, yeah, we'll be right back. If you guys are wondering where you can find even more family-friendly live streams just like this one, head on over to theliveplace.com. The Live Place is your headquarters for great family-friendly live streams. They cover anything from Disney to other vacation spots, various variety shows, and have some amazing streamers like Resort TV 1 and myself. Also, be sure to check out puckermint.com, where you can find amazing pins and stickers. Puckermint is based out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, just a few hours from where I live. And since I'm a big believer in supporting local artists, we decided to partner up. Be sure to use the coupon code down below when you make your next order. Again, that's puckermint.com and puckermint on Instagram. And we are back, everybody, and we are joined by special guest Steve from Cast Member Pantry. Why don't you go ahead and say hello to everybody?
Hello, everyone. Happy International Women's Day to all the listeners out there, and happy Monday evening. And it's an honor to be here with you, Matterhorn, Matt, and Jeremy. I'm looking forward to this.
Yes, we are indeed going to have a very great time. And I guess before we get started here, why don't you go ahead and give a little background on yourself, a little background on a Cast Member Pantry? You know, the floor is yours.
Yeah, most definitely. So I am here representing the Cast Member Pantry, and the Cast Member Pantry is an amazing organization that was set up here in Central Florida shortly after the COVID-19 pandemic began back in late March. Really. And it all kind of started when our president was helping some of her friends move out of their home, and they had all of these canned foods and items left over. and she was hoping to use them for a good cause instead of just discarding them in the trash. And back in those days, we didn't quite know how the virus was spreading, so a lot of local food banks were not accepting them. And so what we decided to do was sanitize them ourselves and give them to cast members that were in need, that were affected by early furloughs. And that's kind of how it kicked off. And here we are today, almost celebrating our year anniversary this month, which is super exciting. Yeah, and to date, we expand to the West Coast, to the East Coast, to Hawaii, and we have serviced over 16,000 cast members to date. So it's a very exciting achievement.
Wow. No, that's fantastic.
That
so
is,
yeah.
It's super fun, and I mean, a lot of listeners here have probably heard a little bit about Cast Pantry and have donated or even volunteered hours. And so I just want to thank you for anybody that has done anything to help us get to this milestone, but also look forward to helping all the listeners learn how they can contribute.
You talked about just now volunteering. Is there a way that how can people volunteer and help the cast member pantry?
Yeah, fantastic question. So it definitely depends on where you live. If you're in the Central Florida area, we do have volunteer shifts that are located in Orlando. It's actually right behind the Magic Kingdom in Windermere. So very close by for those Central Florida cast members. If you're on the West Coast, we do have opportunities to help serve virtually. And those virtual meetings usually happen about once a month, and they really are actually brainstorming sessions. We kind of utilize our West Coast volunteers to help us pinpoint how we can fundraise or get on fantastic podcasts like this. Actually, this idea came from a West Coast volunteer to be here tonight, just to get the word out there. So really, the West Coast volunteers are there to help us brainstorm and how we can better maneuver the pantry out on the West Coast. Because I am here in Central Florida, I'm only used to the Central Florida communities and how they've been impacted by COVID-19. And as we all know, the West Coast is a completely different ballgame. So it's a completely different operation and different approach out there. So we really rely on our West Coast volunteers to help us understand how we can move it forward there. So long story short, if you're in the West Coast, you can definitely join us by emailing our Cast Pantry email, which is very simple. It's castmemberpantry@gmail.com. Again, that's just castmemberpantry@gmail.com. And let us know that you are located in California. It can be Burbank, Glendale, Anaheim areas, and that you want to volunteer. I'm actually over the West Coast volunteer, so you will be in contact with myself. And then if you're in the Central Florida area, you can definitely do the same thing. Email us at castmemberpantry@gmail.com, and we will have you join our Facebook page where we post volunteer shifts.
Great. Now I'm thinking about doing that.
It's fun. We have a good time. And when we get together, just so everybody knows, it is a very safe environment. There is physical distancing and face coverings needed. So it's a very safe but fun environment.
Nice. Awesome. Very cool. Well, I guess I have sort of a follow-up question. I know some of our listeners or viewers are not necessarily located in, the East Coast, West Coast, like me, myself. I'm in New Mexico, right in the middle. What are some of the ways that people, not on the coasts can do to maybe volunteer their time somehow to help the organization?
Yeah, fantastic question. The first thing that comes to my mind is really the most help and support that we can get from anybody throughout the rest of the domestic United States is either helping us find the resources and food items, essentially through our Amazon wish list. We have an Amazon wish list that is set up, and you can access that link via our Facebook page. So if you were to just Facebook Cast Member Pantry, it'll lead you to our Facebook page. And under the About column, you'll click on About, and underneath there, it'll pop up with our Amazon wish list that will link you directly to Amazon. And from there, you'll see all of the food items and other resources that we donate to our cast there, and you can order them, and they'll actually be shipped right to our pantry location here in Central Florida.
Wow.
So very simple, very flawless. Or if you have Venmo, we do have our own Venmo account as well, and that is just simply @castmemberpantry. So if you aren't Amazon savvy or would like to just donate directly to the pantry with monetary funds, you can just go right through Venmo at Cast Member Pantry.
Very nice. And I guess I should preface this.
So informative.
I guess
it's like Like there's no
Sorry.
questions to ask. No, there are.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, we've been at this for like 12 months now, so we do kind of have it down
You're
to
so
a
good.
science.
Yeah, and you're
But
a former
honestly-
cast member, right?
Yes.
I can tell.
Oh yeah, you can tell.
Boom, you're just
Is
getting
it
all
the
the
Mickey Mouse
information.
that you can see in my
Well, it's
background
that.
here?
It's that. No, it's the level of how articulate you are and how you just get all the information. Everybody knows it's clear. So
Oh, you're very kind. You're very kind. But I mean, like I said, we've been at this for 12 months.
Exactly.
And we can have it down to a science by now.
Nice.
Yeah.
of course. God, it's been 12 months. 12 months. I
crazy.
can't believe that.
Yeah. And we're excited to see where else we go in the future. You know, like we're trying to figure out what type of celebratory measures do we take this month, that kind of a thing to celebrate this milestone.
Yeah, absolutely. And that actually, just a question popped into my head. What's the future of the cast member pantry? We just heard parks in California can start to reopen. And obviously it's not going to be just, like I said earlier, a snap of the finger and the parks reopen and
Like a magic wand.
vaccines are rolled out and society's back to normal. No, I mean, there's economic repercussions that are going to, affect people, especially cast members who've been furloughed or no longer work for the company anymore. So what's the role you see cast member pantry playing if by the end of this year all the parks are open, we're approaching a post-COVID world?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. And to be honest, when the cast member pantry leadership team, myself included, met about this very topic last May, June, July timeframe when Walt Disney World reopened,
Right.
we were like, hey, we may not be open, like we might not be in business for much longer. And to be quite honest, like we don't want to be in business. We want to make sure that our cast members are back to work and taken care of. But honestly, for the future, it leads me to kind of articulate the eligibility of who really can take advantage of our services and be a beneficiary. There are 2 criteria that you need to meet. And we do take this on a case-by-case basis. So if any listeners don't meet one of these 2 cookie cutter molds, or if they know somebody that doesn't either, feel free to email us at our Gmail account. Again, that's castmemberpantry@gmail.com, and let us know your specific circumstance. But the 2 eligibility requirements are you are either on furlough currently from your role at Disney, and it can be, again, from theme parks, even over to Aulani and Hawaii, etc., or if you were affected by the layoffs that happened at Walt Disney World or Disneyland Resort. And to answer your question, we are monitoring our funds and everything and all the donations that we receive at this point in time. And we're trying to determine how far after your layoff we are able to support you on a month-by-month basis. So our services are month by month. And so if you were to sign up at the beginning of the month, of this month even, then the next time you could sign up is the first week of April, etc. And that's just how the cadence works. And as we move forward and helping those that were affected by the layoffs, our goal is really to help serve them really for several months afterwards, but we don't really quite know an exact number. But we are thrilled at the California announcement that theme parks can start looking at reopening beginning April 1st. And hopefully this means a lot of our casts are called back in California. But any cast member that remains on furlough on the West Coast or that was affected by layoffs can still take advantage of our services. So our future looks bright. We're going to continue until we have all of our cast taken care of as much as we can based on our funds and resources that we have as an organization.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I have a interesting question. You said you started this whole thing almost a year ago. I'm kind of curious to see what kind of obstacles you guys faced when you were first starting it. I guess some of the biggest challenges this whole past year has presented to you guys as a whole.
Yeah. So some of the fun, well, we like to call them opportunities more than, challenges or anything, but some of the opportunities that really reached us. I mean, first of all, when we first began, we launched the pantry here in Central Florida. And back then we had so many of our cast members put on furlough and so many cast that were just in need of help. I mean, this was, the furloughs back then, for those of you that remember, happened almost overnight. And the demand just rose fairly quickly. And we had to be very nimble. I remember that in those early days, we had to be nimble on Do we allow cast members to come in and actually pick the food that they would like to take with them? Do we include hygiene items? Do we include pet food? Or do we have a pre-made bag already prepared for them that just kind of helps the efficiency? And so through the first couple of months, we had learnings of the most efficient way is to have bags pre-made. And these bags, we partnered with some of the culinary artists here at Walt Disney World who recommended to us what food is healthy and sustainable and non-perishable for families. We actually based it on a family of 4 for a couple of days, like how much food would a family of 4 need to survive for a few days. And that's how we determined what items we put in our bag. So we definitely did our research there. But we created these pre-made bags that we call our Fast Pass bags. I know, because very Disney, right? And so by doing so, we were able to kind of jump over that hurdle of just making it more efficient, if you will. And then the second opportunity that came to my mind was when we decided to launch this in California. We had to make sure that we were in a good place financially to begin opening up the operation in California. And we were very excited that late October 2020, we finally felt in a comfortable place to do that. And myself, along with our Cast Member Pantry president, flew out to California and met with several amazing volunteers and Disney leaders in the area that helped us understand the community, what's the best way to do the operation, what's the best way to do the fundraising out there. Because as I mentioned earlier, it's just a different ball game. And the big opportunity was, how do we make this California operation efficient? And how can we keep up with the demand? And so we actually take an Instacart approach on the West Coast, that when a cast member signs up with our services, we have an amazing representative on our side named Kimmy Sue, who inputs these Instacart orders, and then the Instacart bags are delivered to the cast member's home. So instead of us doing the packing and assembling as we do on the East Coast, Instacart does all that work for us on the West Coast, which has been a fantastic partnership. So those are some of the hurdles, if you will, that we've had to overcome. But it's been a fantastic opportunity, and I think it's definitely gotten more efficient over the last couple months.
Nice.
Very exciting.
That's great. You mentioned that you've helped over 16 or about 16,000 cast members, and that's on both coasts, correct?
Yes, correct.
That's incredible because, just in terms of the number that were let go is 28,000. I mean, you're almost kind of to that number. But, and I'm sure one of the reasons you're coming on shows like this is to not just, let people know you exist, number one, and let people know, donate, help us get the funding that we need and volunteer your time. But I'm sure it's also, hey, there's, that 16,000 doesn't just include, the ones, the cast members that were let go. It also, it includes a lot of furloughed. So,
yes.
How else are you trying to get yourself out there to make sure that all cast members are able to take advantage of what the Cast Member Pantry is offering?
Yeah. So the number one way that we can do this is by word of mouth. Just the marketing behind the word of mouth. It can go into deep crevices that we simply can't get to through podcasts or social media posts or things like that. So for any cast member that's listening, I invite you to talk to your teams, whether you're back at work or not. Get the word out there that this organization exists and let them know that this is how you are able to volunteer or take advantage of our services. And again, if you have any questions, just email us at castmemberpantry@gmail.com and we can help address those. But we are saying word of mouth is by far the best way to go. Number 2 is we do have a social media presence. We do have a Facebook page and an Instagram that anybody is welcome to follow. And both of those are just Cast Member Pantry, very simple. So if you would like to stay up to date with Cast Member Pantry news, I invite you to follow both of those. And then another way that we're doing it is partnering with our West Coast volunteers to find connections such as Matterhorn Matt and Jeremy here to get on podcasts, because we do want to try and hit a Disney affinity audience. And obviously listeners here care about the company. They have a passion for the company. They want to help give back to cast members that have made it their family vacation so memorable for their for their families for years and years before this. I mean, if I may, just one amazing story that comes to mind is last July, there was a family from New York who takes a trip to Walt Disney World every fall. And at that point in time, the travel just didn't look good between New York and Florida. And instead of using the funds that they had saved up for their Walt Disney World trip, they donated it all to Cast Pantry.
Wow.
So a very touching story on how, this, family who normally just says, hey, cast members always take care of us. Let's do what we can to take care of them. Those kinds of stories are happening all over the United States and even internationally. So we definitely look forward to where these podcasts and other places take us, because this is the audience that we're trying to get to, are those that have an emotional tie to our parks.
Wow, great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's so it's just that sums it, cast members. Yeah, that's so beautiful that actually guests would give back that way. Hey, we're not going to go on our trip. We're going to donate to help cast members in need. That's wonderful. Because I can speak for myself. Like, there are cast members that are like ingrained in my memory. I will always remember certain cast members who give an experience that is just, you don't expect.
Oh,
so
same.
That's the beautiful. Yeah.
Yep. Our cast members are the ones that make the magic.
Yes.
Truly.
Yes.
And so they're the ones that we can remember. And I think, that's one of the beauties behind Cast Member Pantries. This is an opportunity for us to give back to those that have made our family vacation so memorable.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's actually a really amazing story. I guess I have sort of I have a question here. What is something that you could say to maybe the listeners, the viewers? Maybe they're on the fence when it comes to donating, because you mentioned cast members do, of course, provide the magic for their for everybody who visits the parks. What's something you could say to maybe somebody who's on the fence to try to get them to help the cast members here?
Yeah, I think the first thing that comes to my mind is, please know that any donation that you want to give, how big or small it may seem in your mind, whatever it is, it will go a long way, and it will be available to help service our cast. So if you feel like you can only do a couple of dollars, $5, $10, whatever it might be, whatever you see is reasonable, by all means, it's going to go a long way. To put things into perspective, we will usually put about $50 or so into our pre-made bags that we give out. So by getting to a $50 mark, and this is on average and just kind of spitballing it here, but usually when we can get to about $50, you're feeding a cast member and or their family for about 3 or 4 days. So by even just a couple of, if you got 5 of your close friends together and donated $10, that's one cast member that's being taken care of. So if you happen to be sitting on the fence, just know that any type of donation that you send, especially if it's through Venmo, because our Venmo account is set up to where 100% of it is sent to us. There's no fees or anything taken out. It goes right into the Cast Member Pantry account and is used to help our cast members. And then number 2, I would just say that 2020 was a tough year for a lot of people. And I would just kind of keep it into perspective of the things that we're grateful for. We should be able to look at those in a lens of, I'm grateful for what I have, and look at opportunities to kind of help our communities and to give back. Even if you don't reside in the Central Florida or Southern California areas, you're part of our Disney community. By being here and listening to Matterhorn Matt, or coming to the Disney parks, or watching Disney Plus, WandaVision, whatever it might be, you're part of our Disney community. And it's an awesome opportunity for you to give back to that community that you are a part of.
Very cool.
Amazing.
He said it there, you guys. If you're on the fence, get out your iPhones.
Yeah, very convenient. I swear. If you know Venmo, it's a very convenient way. And I will say too, we also have a PayPal set up as well. For those that may not have Venmo, but PayPal does take out a percentage of the transaction. So you're welcome to do PayPal. Again, it's just at Cast Member Pantry. But if you were to use Venmo, 100% of it will go to our account.
Very cool. And I guess I should preface this. Links to everything will also be down in the description for everybody to click on and to copy and paste into Venmo, PayPal,
We'll
whatever
make it
may
easy
be.
for you. We'll have it all there.
Yes.
You'll
That
just
we
click on it
will.
and donate. That's it. So you even have less of an excuse to sit on the
Yes.
fence. Not that we're shaming anybody. We're not shaming anybody.
Love it.
We're not. Yeah, no, that's great. I was just thinking, and I'm not sure if this is even something that it can even be answered, but even as we, approach post-COVID world, how else does the cast member pantry see themselves advocating for cast members in the future aside from, assistance?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jeremy. So the number one thing is to understand that Cast Member Pantry has an board of directors. I sit on that board of directors, and it has a leadership team that is constantly monitoring the business and trying to identify areas of opportunity to grow in the future. So although we may not know what the future holds now, we do have a lot of good influencers that sit on our board that are monitoring the business and trying to figure out where does this look, or how does this look like in the future. I can say at least for the next 4 to 6 months, we will continue hopefully doing our operation as normal. But into the future, we will continue monitoring the business and seeing what the need is and seeing what we can do to help cast member lives in the future if needed.
Fantastic. That's great. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't even think I have any more questions. Do you have any more questions, Matt?
Gosh. I don't think so. We really hit the nail home with everyone. Well, I guess we can sort of at the end.
Steve really did. I mean, so prepared and
very thorough.
Yeah, do you have anything that like, oh, I didn't get to say this, they didn't ask this?
Yeah.
Like, is there anything that you really like want to say about what you do? I mean, what your role is, or cast member pantry in general, or anything at all? Anything at all?
Yeah, I would say that really, I mean, first of all, like you guys were awesome hosts and you guys also had great questions. And so I really appreciate that. But I will say, to sum it up, just two things come to mind. Number one, just as a reminder to our listeners, for those of you that are cast members that are affected by furlough or a layoff that happened, you are qualified to sign up for our services. And you can sign up by emailing us at castmemberpantry@gmail.com. Again, the link will be listed below later, or going onto our Facebook page to find the link. And I will say that please know that all donations are anonymous and that there is no shame whatsoever to ask for help, to reach out and ask for help. That is why we are here. That is why we are in business. We're here to serve you. So please don't have any feeling of regret. No story is too low or too high. As long as you fit this eligibility, you're welcome to be a beneficiary. And as I mentioned too, even if you don't follow or fall into one of those cookie cutter molds, please email us. If there's a special circumstance that you find yourself in, that you might even be called back to work or whatever it might be, please email us and we'll see what we can do. And we do monitor those scenarios on a case-by-case basis. And then the second thing I will say is, for those of you that are looking at helping, again, I reiterate that if you're on the West Coast, please send us an email at our cast member pantry Gmail account. Say that you're located on the West Coast, you want to figure out how you can volunteer, and you'll most likely be put in contact with myself, and I will add you to our monthly meetings that we host. And then if you're on the East Coast, again, join our Facebook page. Just search us Cast Member Pantry on Facebook and look for those opportunities to volunteer in the Central Florida area. We would love to have everybody. And then for those of you that are not in the California or Florida communities, you can again donate through our wish list, our Amazon wish list via Facebook, or on our Venmo account at Cast Member Pantry. And like I said earlier, no donation is too small. Please, whatever you're willing to give, and just think about that one cast member that made that difference when you were a little kid, or went that extra mile to serve your grandma on her birthday, whatever it might have been. And think about that cast member, because you very well could be helping that cast member specifically. So please just think about that as you're looking to donate.
Very
Fantastic.
cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
like I said, links to everything will, of course, be down in the description for everybody. Jeremy, any final thoughts here?
No, thank you so much for coming on
Yeah.
and being so informative, and yeah, and I wish the cast member pantry the best in the future. I know you're saying you wish that it's like, oh, I wish we didn't have to exist, but you do exist now, and I hope that I hope there's a bright future for the pantry in advocating for cast members. Maybe even all over the world one day.
Yeah, one day. No doubt.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
Yes.
This was incredible.
No, thank you both. This was very helpful. Thank you so much for helping us get the word out. It means a lot. So thank you both, and thank you to all of our listeners.
Yes. Thank you, Steve. Yeah, we really appreciate it. Anytime you want to come back on again, of course, you are welcome to spread the good
Yeah, if
word.
you ever want to come on, talk about Disney news, you're
or
more
just
than welcome
chat,
to.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that sounds hard. Or just chat. I mean, we had a good conversation, and I did hear you say at the beginning you want to have more interviewees this year.
Oh,
so,
yes.
Hey, I'm available.
Okay, great. Perfect.
Cool. All right. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right. Well, I guess we can sort of wrap up this week's episode here. Of course, links to everything will be down in the description below. Links to all of our socials too, but that's, those will be at the very, very bottom. We'll have all the cast member pantry stuff right at the top.
Right.
Right. Because most people don't even scroll to the bottom. But yeah, thank you all for coming to today's episode. And I guess you can sort of always 575-386-5814 leave a voicemail for any future questions you might have, in regards to cast member pantry. If you have any questions for Steve, we can, relay those over to him. And
absolutely.
Yeah, I guess on that note, thank you all for coming. And as always, have a great big